used to be in person, but for now we're holding that or not offering that due to the pandemic, but hoping to resume soon. During these appointments, we discuss anything finance with our clients, generally whatever our clients are looking for or needing help with. Our goal is to help them create a plan, whether it's long-term or short-term, for them to achieve whatever financial goal they have in mind. Another service we offer is our debt management program, which is designed to help our clients pay off any unsecured debt in 5 years or less. And we do that by negotiating with their creditors to lower their monthly payments as well as their interest rates, excuse me. Another program we offer is our individual development account program, which is a matched savings account. Our savers can save up to $1,000 in the span of 6 months to 36 months, and we match that 2 to 1. So we grant them $2,000, leaving them with $3,000 to use toward a first-time home purchase, to create or expand a business, or post-secondary education. So super great program. Totally recommend you check it out. We also offer a variety of financial education courses, very similar to our webinars that we hold for our COVID series. But if you're interested, the best place to check is our website under the events tab. You should be able to see all of our classes and webinars that we offer for that month. And then last but not least, we have our refinance payday loan program, which is called Credit Gazelle. We partner with American United Federal Credit Union to help our clients refinance any loans that they have with payday lenders. American United buys the debt from those lenders, and then offer our clients much more affordable interest loan within lower interest rates. So super awesome services that we offer. Definitely go to our website to check out more information on these services. For today's agenda, we have two. We'll hear from our own Talon Larson, who is also a certified personal financial counselor. He's going to talk about affordable ways to eat healthy, and then we'll move along to Margot Draeger from International Rescue Committee. She'll talk about different gardening tips, as well as one other newer programs called New Roots, and then I'll discuss a few other resources for farmer markets in Utah, and then we'll finish off with Q&A. Before we get started, a few housekeeping rules for all of us to follow along. Next page, thank you, or slide, thanks, Helen. So first and foremost, please keep your mic muted if you're not speaking. That way we can eliminate as much background noise as possible for our speakers. If you have any questions, please use the chat during our presentations. We'll try our best to get back to you during the chat, but if not, we'll definitely answer those questions at the end for Q&A. So feel free to answer or ask questions during the presentations via our chat, or save them for the live Q&A at the end. And then we are recording this presentation, so if please keep your video off if you don't want to be seen in the presentation. But that's it for me. So we'll move the time over to Talon for his part of the presentation. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Itzel. Hello, everyone. Good to be here with all of you. Have some exciting things. Wanted to talk about some cheap ways to eat healthy. And healthy isn't just for the wealthy, right? We can all enjoy the benefits of eating healthy at a reduced cost. So wanted to go over some different ways on how to do that. So it first starts off by being prepared, right? So I grew up as a Boy Scout, right, in the scouting program. And one of the major things that we talked about there is being prepared, right? And that just applies all over the place in everyone's lives, being prepared. We often talk about having like an emergency fund. And so when it comes to talking about food and purchasing food and things like that, there's a couple of things that we can do to be prepared in order to eat healthy at a reduced cost, right? So I'll break down these 3 points in just a little bit, but the first one is to plan out your meals, right? The first step of being prepared is to come up with a plan. Second is to shop with the list to help execute that plan. And the third little tip is to don't shop on an empty stomach. And so let's dive into these. So first, coming up with a plan, right, to have your meals prepared and planned out ahead of time. First, what you want to do is look through your pantry, your fridge, food storage, whatever you have stocked up before you come up with any sort of list or make any preparations, is to take inventory of where you're at and what you got, right? There's no need to go buy another bottle of ketchup when you have one already in your storage room or in your pantry, right? That just defeats the purpose. So take inventory of what you have and have that be a starting point of creating meals based off of what you already have. What you can do after that, though, that second point, is after you've determined what foods you have and that sort of thing, what you want to do is set a time aside to actually come up with a plan, right? I like to think of going to the gym as an analogy, right? If you have this dream of, hot girl summer bod, or whatever is going on, or to be the hunkiest guy, or just to be in shape, right? That doesn't happen overnight. You have to plan out time in the gym to get there. The same goes with healthy eating, right? You have to plan out your meals, have to spend some time doing that, right? And we encourage that also with when it comes to budgeting and savings, is to set time aside to actually work on it, right? Otherwise, if you don't have that dedicated time, it's not going to happen. So could recommend just a couple minutes on a Sunday or a weeknight, whenever works best for you, to take some time to plan this out. So at that time, create the list that you need. And from there, shop for foods that you know you will use. Some of the biggest pitfalls when it comes to our spending and losing out on money is when the goods that we purchase end up spoiling, and we just have to end up throwing them out, or they expire, whatever it may be. So plan wisely, and yourself, your family, those that you're preparing meals with, take some time and figure out, okay, what are we going to actually eat, and avoid wasting money on wasted food. So then that leads to my next point I wanted to talk about, is shopping with a list. So big box companies, they know what they're doing with their advertisements, right? They spend millions of dollars on it to get us to spend money on their products, right? So it's very easy to be attracted to that tasty treat on aisle 5, right? And want to go get that snack. But if we stick with a shopping list, we'll be better prepared to avoid overspending than what our budget allows. So the second point here that I want to mention is consider shopping with a digital list. And what I mean by that is there's many different apps out there, but even just a simple notes app on your smartphone, list out all the different items that you need. And more often than not, you can turn those lists into check boxes. And as you're going through, it can be a quick, easy, all right, you're in the store. Did I get the milk? Click, got it. Let's go on to the next one. Bread, click, got it. And you can have that list for later down the road too. So that way, if you need that item again, you just uncheck all the boxes, go to the store with the items that you need, recheck that list, and save yourself some time there. And that helps with the knowing what you're actually going to eat type of thing, and not overspend on, oh wait, do I have eggs? Do I need eggs? Right? It's this process. The last thing, when shopping with your list, consider buying the generic brands or the cheaper brands, right? Um, a box of Frosted Flakes tastes pretty much the same as a box of, flaky, just the generic brand, right? So consider that. Last tip, before going into some calculations for you, is don't shop on an empty stomach. If you go into shop hungry, the odds of you impulse buying are going to be increased. And so some ideas for you is to, before your trip, grab a snack, just eat something along the way. It could be an apple, a yogurt. I'm a big fan of string cheese. That could be something that you can do. These impulse purchases are often expensive and unhealthy. So consider those. And like I said, I wanted to run some numbers by you because often people, they say, oh, eating healthy is so expensive and I can't afford it. It's much easier to eat out or these different types of things. So I have this scenario for you of a family of 4, 2 adults, 2 children, wanting to have a nice barbecue meal, right? Good hamburger. So there's 2 different options. You can do it at home or go out and eat. So the first list or the first column, I have listed out the different prices for the different ingredients for this meal, right? So a pack of 8 hamburger buns is 88 cents. That's what I found online. 12 count hamburger patties is going to cost you just under $10. The lettuce, the cheese, all the extra condiments will cost you a couple extra dollars, and then finishing it off with a side of chips. So altogether, it's going to cost $21.18 for all of this food. And you could probably get at least another meal, have this meal twice in a week for that amount. But on the flip side, if you were to go out to eat, it could be more convenient than going out, buying all the different ingredients and making it yourself. But look at the cost difference. For 2 double cheeseburgers with bacon, so kind of like the middle of the pack when it comes to eating out. There's more expensive items, there's cheaper items, but for those in a combo meal, for 2 of them is going to run you $20.36. But then for the kids, for them to have their kids' meals or whatever, it's going to run $8.38. Altogether, it's going to cost $28.74. And you just get the one meal. So it's $7.56 cheaper in this scenario for the at-home meal that you make. Plus you get a second meal out of it. You have enough ingredients for that second meal, right? So this is just one scenario of hundreds that I could come up with, but one to run by you to show you that eating healthy isn't as expensive as you might think. So just some other tips. If you know your meals and what your family purchases, look to stock up on those items if a sale comes up. And so take advantage of any case lot sales or just any deals that might be coming up. But a warning with that though is to avoid buying too much, right? Too much in bulk. The idea is to save money and not go crazy trying to chase the best deal or those types of things. So do it in moderation. Be conscious of how much your family eats and not to let any food spoil, right? That that defeats the purpose if it spoils. And one other tip too is buying frozen vegetables and fruits is a pretty good way to go. You keep most, if not all, the health benefits of fresh produce, but it doesn't expire as quickly. So sometimes you may want to consider going that route of buying frozen rather than fresh. So um, that's all the tips I have for you. And if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat, um, and then we can discuss them later. But that's what I have for today. So.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Talon. That's some great information. Sometimes eating healthy can seem a little bit unattainable because it can get pricey. So knowing that there's a possibility or a way to make it affordable is super, super nice. All righty, Margot, let's go ahead and move things over to you.
Great, thanks. Yeah, my name is Margot Draeger, and I work with the International Rescue Committee, which is a refugee resettlement organization across the US and in Salt Lake City. And New Roots is just one of the programs at the IRC that helps folks with accessing nutrition through community gardens and economic opportunities through farming and selling produce. And my specific role is running our 3 farmers markets that run from June to October. Let's see, so then today's agenda, we'll go over some seasonal planting, spacing and thinning of plants, crop rotation, and then the New Roots farmers markets and how to access double up food bucks with your SNAP dollars. And the kind of gardening tips are an introductory level kind of thing that we introduce to our farmers. A lot of them have farmed in their home countries and then have come to the US, and the seasonality of planting here in Utah is a lot different than, say, planting in Thailand. So we kind of introduce that, but a lot of people have that background and knowledge. So we'll just go over some basic gardening tips. So this is a planting calendar specifically for Utah and the Wasatch Front. So there are cool seasonal crops and warm seasonal crops. And so you can kind of see here that peas, spinach, lettuce, kale, radishes are all the cool seasonal crops that here in Utah can start to be planted in March. And then those have like about a month till maturity, and you'll be harvesting those, and they don't do well in the summer heat. So that's when you can start planting the warm weather crops like tomatoes, peppers, squash, cucumber, melons, and pumpkins. Those are all just ready to be planted right now, actually. At May 15th or in early June is a good time to plant those vegetables here. And there's kind of 2 options for planting. You can plant from seed or plant from a transplant that has already started growing, either in a sunny window in your house. You could start seeds, and then once they are big enough and the time is right, plant those in your garden outside. I would say for success as a beginning gardener, and just success in general, because it's good to have the fruits of your labor actually produce. Things like lettuce, spinach, arugula, those are like really great things to start with, because you can plant those seeds, see them come up in about a month, and have salad on your table right away. and they keep producing. So those are great. And then it can be a bit tricky starting tomatoes and peppers from seed and getting them to a healthy big transplant. So those items can be useful to purchase them from a grocery store or Home Depot. And I'll kind of cover this later, but you can use your SNAP or EBT card to purchase seeds or transplants that will produce veggies or fruit. So the next tip is around thinning plants. The plants need, ample space to grow. So on the seed packets, you'll see the amount of spacing between plants that you should have. And as you can see with this example of the radishes, maybe at the beginning you plant like several seeds right next to each other just for viability and making sure that you have seeds that will produce. But once those start to, the green is starting to emerge from the soil, you want to thin them so that that can be have enough space to grow. So pretty much every plant should be thinned, depending on how much space they need. And if we go to the next slide, I have the back of a seed packet here. And so you can kind of see it has all the information that you need. So how many days from planting to harvest it will take. And then the depth that the seed should be planted. This one's 1/4 inch. And then the thinning, so the distance between each plant. So for a head of lettuce, you want to have one head of lettuce, and then 8 inches apart, you can have the other head of lettuce. And so on most seed packets, you'll have all of this information available to you so that the plants can grow bigger and healthier because they have enough space. Another thing on the seed packet is the kind of planting zones here. So we're in Utah, you can see it's one of the green planting zones. And so for lettuce, that's planting it in the spring or in the fall. But if you were in another part of the country, it might be a different time of the year based on how much sun and heat that you're getting. And then another tip on gardening is that you don't want to plant the same vegetable in the same spot year after year. You want to rotate the crops and where they sit in your garden bed, and this will improve soil health and help with pest management. Some plants are heavy feeders, so they take more nutrients than they produce, and then others are lighter feeders. And one thing that I've learned recently, a good rule of thumb is that peas are something that are pretty much okay to plant before any other plant because they put a lot of nutrients into the ground. But here is one example of a basic crop rotation that in one spot of your garden, you may one year or in the spring want to plant a leafy green, and then in the fall in that spot plant a legume like beans, peas, and then later on plant fruit plant, which would be tomatoes, squash, melon, or peppers or cucumbers. The fruit plants are the ones that are heavy feeders that take a lot of nutrients. And then next would be maybe a root crop. So when you're thinking about what you want to plant, think about where in your garden you will have it. And then when that is done and harvested, what you could plant next in that spot. And then there's always the option of replenishing your soil with a cover crop, like some kind of pea green that you could plant there that you would then just mix into the soil and have better soil health from that. So yeah, this is just one example of how you could rotate your crops. So that kind of concludes the information on gardening. If any questions have come up, or please let me know. I'm going to now kind of introduce you to the New Roots Farmers Markets and talk about the SNAP and Double Up Food Bucks program. So the farmers markets are one avenue of sales for the farmers participating in New Roots. We run 3 markets from June to October. The Sunnyvale Farmers Market that's on the left of this poster has been running for 11 years now, and it has a food pantry and free kids lunch that we do each Saturday during the market, as well as nonprofits that come to table and community resources. And then the over half of our sales at this market are from SNAP and EBT sales. We participate in Double Up Food Bucks, so customers can bring their Utah Horizon card with their EBT funds and use that to purchase. So they would come to the benefits booth and get tokens for their SNAP funds, and we can match dollar to dollar up to $30 in free tokens to spend on fresh produce. So if a customer comes and wants to spend $30, the maximum match amount, then we'll give them $30 in SNAP tokens and then $30 in the free Double Up tokens, which are only able to be spent on fresh produce, whereas the SNAP tokens can be spent on honey, on bread, on packaged foods, on seeds or plants, and on veggies as well. So the Sunnyvale Farmers Market and the New Roots Farmers Markets that run on Wednesday, this is an example of some of our seasonal produce. Since I think when you're growing your own produce, and then you really appreciate, how much it takes to produce just one eggplant or one tomato. And if you need to supplement your garden, then farmers markets are a great way to go shop, because you're supporting those farmers directly, and you're also getting really fresh produce. In the case of our farms, they're all organically grown, and most of the produce is harvested that morning or the day before. So it's fresh, local, and organic. And so here you can see that a lot of the leafy greens are available starting in June, and root crops like beets and radishes, spicy mustard greens. And then August and September are really when you want to capitalize on getting that local produce from your Utah farmers, like green beans, chili peppers, cucumbers, eggplant, and tomatoes. That's the sweet spot for getting those items, August and September. So a good time to frequent the farmers market. And then maybe you'll go into more of this, but I just wanted to mention that New Roots markets aren't the only ones participating in the Double Up Food Bucks program. There's a lot of farmers markets in Utah that participate. So if you have SNAP or are referring people to use their SNAP, there's a list of farmers markets that take SNAP and Double Up at doubleuputah.org or at the Utahns Against Hunger website. They both take you to the same site, and it'll give you a list of what farmers markets are participating. Let's see. Yeah, so WIC, it's something that I've emailed the local WIC or the state-run WIC office about. We currently can't accept WIC at farmers markets, which is frustrating because there are many other states across the US that do have capabilities to accept WIC at farmers market, but it's just not something Utah is doing quite yet. And then we'll be printing flyers and kind of getting the word out about our farmers market in the next month or so. So I can definitely share flyers with folks if they're interested, either electronically or by hand. And on this is the last slide, but I just included my email address here if you have any questions or yeah, wanted any access to any of the slides today.
Great. Thanks so much, Margot, for sharing that great information on, basic gardening tips to help, us that want to start gardening, as well as information on, that New Roots Farmers Market, and that link too for other different markets that are part of that Double Up program. So thank you so much for sharing that. And then, yes, I do have a few more slides on different farmers markets all around Utah. So I kind of just listed them here with the dates that they'll open up, and then as well as, the days of the week and times that they'll be open. So there's a few different farmers markets here. I don't know which ones partake or if any of these partake in the Double Up program, but I think that link that Margot shared would let us know for sure. And then we also have information for different farm stands and year-round markets here in Utah. So you have options, right, to explore different areas and support your local farmers. And then the next slide is on another program from Farmers Feeding Utah. They have this event that they like to call the food distribution, I think it's Blitz. But they have all these local farmers in different counties here in Utah that provide fresh produce for people in need here in Utah. So the event is tomorrow. Thank you for of anybody who wants to participate or is in need of some fresh produce, please. They just opened up in 5 new counties and are inviting surrounding counties to participate in this event. But each county and location is meeting tomorrow at 5:30 to 7:30 or until supplies last. So I listed all of the locations as well as the counties and everything like that. So definitely check them out or pass the word along. And I think today, let's go ahead. Here at Fair Credit, if you want to reach out, we have our email and our phone number, and then please follow us on all of our social media platforms to find out more about any events coming up or services that we offer. And then, let's open it up to Q&A for those that might have a question or two for either Talon, Margot, or Fair Credit. Alrighty, and then Lindsay asked if we could send out some slides or post them somewhere. Are you referring to the slides for Margot or just in general, the whole presentation? Because I think we can do that. We'll definitely post this presentation on our YouTube channel and our social media, and then awesome, yeah. And then we'll email it to all of our participants that joined in today for the class. So we'll get that ball rolling. Great. Yeah, I agree. We had a lot of information that was super helpful that was shared today. So glad we can pass it along to.
I think there's a question asking what seeds need to be thinned. So that might be a question for Margot.
Oh yeah, I saw it come up as I was presenting. So I just mentioned that all seeds kind of have a basic amount of space that they need. And so checking the back of the seed packet will show you how much space they need between them. And it is a good rule to kind of plant more seeds than you like. Some of those won't actually come up depending on how old the seeds are. So it can be a good practice to plant a few extra seeds than thinking like every seed will actually produce a plant. And then you'll want to go back and thin them as they start to come up so that they have enough space to grow. Yeah, and you can just pull them out kind of by the base of the plant and like closer to the roots, trying not to disturb the plants nearby. Pulling them out just by hand works, or if you have like a small like needle type gardening tool, that can work well too if it's deeper. And then harvesting scissors can be great for harvesting greens and things like that.
Perfect. And I think there's a question asking what shopping apps are good. Someone mentioned Flip is a good app. Personally, what I use is just my Google Notes app. It's nothing fancy. I just create my own checklist and do that. But yeah, check out that Flip app. See if that can work for you. Any other questions from the lovely folks out there? Okay, well, thank you everyone for your attendance today. It's always a pleasure to have you here. And Mackenzie, actually, can I turn some time over to you to talk about the new women's group that's starting? If you're available.
Yeah, no, I went inside. My husband's mowing the lawn, so it was loud. Yeah, on Thursday, starting this Thursday, and it'll be monthly. We have a women's group. We're calling it BOW Women's Group, Building Opportunities for Women. So any of you who are interested in joining, it's going to just be a discussion group where we can talk about our successes financially, but also some of our struggles and how we might be able to give suggestions to one another to reach our financial goals. And so please join us. It's going to be, the first one's going to be this Thursday at 4. And I will definitely throw in the link as to where you can register for that this week. If you can't make it this week, still maybe email us at info@faircredit.org, and I'll throw that also in the chat so that you can reach out to us and say, hey, I'd be interested in knowing about these events in the future, because that particular group won't be posted publicly to register. So it'll be important for you to just kind of hear it by word of mouth from us. So I'll throw that link as to where to register, and then the email where you can request it for future reference. And also, Lindsay, that would be where you can also refer. I would just email us at info@faircredit, and we'll make sure we get those slides PDF version to you. So perfect.
Thanks, Mackenzie.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Alrighty, folks. Well, go enjoy this lovely weather. Go eat healthy, fill your body with warmth and light, and we'll catch you next time. Stay safe out there, folks.
Thank you.